Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
What is going on, everyone? This has been one of the craziest weekends of my life, one of the craziest couple days that I have experienced in quite some time. And if you have been up to date on what's been happening in my life, I bought a house with my fiance. And how about this? We had that huge rainstorm on Friday, right? Monstrous. Yeah, it's in the basement. The basement is flooded. We're ripping out the carpets. We're trying to suck out the water from the carpet with the shop vac. We got the couch all over the place, the 75-inch TV. It's okay, I promise you. The 75-inch TV is okay, but we don't get to experience the greatness of it right now because we're too busy pulling back all the carpets. Oh, it's a nightmare, so that is what I had to do all weekend long. On top of that, we had to find out why it flooded. We got to get into the gutters. We had to cut the gutters, add to the gutters. Wow, homeowners. Wow. Hey, now that I'm part of the homeowner crew, holy hell. And it's only just begun. But I digress because right now we get to sit here and talk sports. And we get to see all these videos going on of the NBA bubble. Ben Simmons going fishing. Tobias Harris being heartbroken about Boban. There's so many things happening right now in the NBA bubble, but seeing teams get on the court, seeing the Sixers out there actually on the court, real video of them in Orlando, watching Matisse Thybulle's new documentary series, or not really a documentary series, but a vlog that he's putting out on what it's like to be in this NBA bubble. It's awesome. It really is. It does give that general vibe that, hey, it's coming. It's sneaking up on us. We're in the second week of July now. It will be here before we know it, and that's awesome. No doubt about it, that's awesome. But there are some things when it comes to the 76ers that I kind of want to get into when it comes to on the court stuff and off the court stuff as well. Before we do, let's not forget that this episode of Sports Talk with Broads is sponsored by Orbit Energy and Power. With over 20 years of experience in the industry, Orbit Energy and Power is home to your solar experts. Their solar program helps eliminate your electric bill completely. They offer flexible financing solutions such as $0 down. We are discussing $0 electric bills right now, may I add. Not only that, tree removals, water purification systems, battery storage, backup energy services, and more. Visit them online. Their information is in the description. We'll start with this. It kind of bothers me a little bit that a lot of NBA experts or NBA insiders, they all say that their sleeper pick is the 76ers. First off, when there's so many people saying that the Sixers will be the sleeper pick, it kind of concerns me. It's sort of like when everyone says, okay, well, who's that one player that's underrated? And everybody gives that one player. I know people mention Bradley Beal. I know people mention other players in other sports. But if everyone's saying the same person, are they really underrated? No. If everyone's saying the same person's underrated, is that person underrated? No, because everybody is acknowledging them. Well, when it comes to the Sixers, I know a lot of people are saying they're the sleeper pick. And when everyone's saying this, are they really the sleeper pick? I think it's kind of the easy way out when asked, well, who's the sleeper going into the NBA bubble? Because we all understand that they have a ton of talent. It just didn't really mesh together. We all understood that they have individual talent. It just didn't flow properly. Maybe some guys weren't comfortable playing in certain positions, like Al Horford at the stretch four. Maybe he will be better utilized off the bench. But everyone sees the talent on the roster and can see that there's legit players on the team. So it's not really going out on a limb. Guess what? It's not really a hot take to say, well, the Sixers could be a sleeper. But I will say what bothers me is the reason why people say the Sixers are the sleeper. And one of the reasons, it has to do with sloppy play. When people come back, it's going to be sloppy. Teams will miss their shots. It's going to be ugly. Similar to when you start a season. When you start a new season off on normal time, when it's October, they don't look the same. Teams don't look the same as they do in the middle of the year after 43 games, 44 games, 45 games. or towards the end when you're at 70 games. They don't look the same because, well, you got to get into rhythm. You got to find your flow. You got to learn your team. You just get into the rhythm of knocking down shots. Get into the game speed and being able to deliver. Well, one of the reasons why people claim the Sixers will actually have a chance in this thing, alone from the talent that I mentioned, is the fact that people are going to be so sloppy and playing such ugly basketball that the Sixers will have an opportunity because they play an ugly style. Because they can just grind teams out and play with their length, and they don't have this overpowering offense where they can play bully ball and they can have this big lineup and defend. And it bothers me just a little bit because you're essentially saying everyone is going to be so bad and they're going to be missing their threes and they're not going to be able to execute at all, so the Sixers have a chance. And I don't like that. I don't like that. I do not like how that is being portrayed. So we all see that they have talent. That is one of the reasons why saying they can be a sleeper is in play. But going off of the talent thing, it's definitely a lot of noise right now when it comes to how sloppy teams will be. Will the Rockets be able to successfully knock down their shots? Will these three-point shooting teams be able to deliver night in and night out after taking that long off? Will they be able to literally get into the gym, get into their comfort spots, and boom, 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 three after three? And I think it's fair to question if teams are going to come out flying on all cylinders and being able to literally shoot the lights out like they were before. Like, I can totally comprehend questioning how good teams are going to come out of the chute. Boom. But don't tell me the Sixers are going to be able to maybe win because teams are going to suck that bad. That doesn't make me feel good about this team. That doesn't make me happy about the Sixers. Well, hold on. The Sixers might be able to win because other teams are going to be so terrible, so awful, that maybe they can. Stop. Now, I've been consistent when it comes to how I feel about this team. I could see them losing in round one. I could see them losing in round two. I could see them going to the Eastern Conference Finals. Like, I think their talent is good enough to. I just don't think it's been that type of year for them. I don't think they're screwed long term. I think the NBA is year to year when it comes to specific teams. And I think with this team, it has not been what they expected. It has not been pretty. But it seems like there's always a team every year that has a ton of expectations heading into the season, and it doesn't pan out. And it looks bad. And then what happens the next season? The expectations go down, and then that team ends up playing better, or finding a way, or just getting into a different groove, or trying something new during the offseason that helps out, or maybe just an addition of one extra player can change things. I've seen it happen all the time in this league. So I'm not super concerned because, you know what, they have a talented roster that didn't really look that great this season. But I've been consistent with this team. I wouldn't be shocked if they lose to the Heat or the Celtics in round one. I wouldn't be surprised if they beat them. Their talent is not far off from round three, the Eastern Conference Finals. But with this season, yeah, you know what, it hasn't been that great. It is what it is. And I don't know what to expect from the team. I don't know what to expect from any of these teams. It would be ridiculous for me to think that all of these teams are just going to come out and be right where they were. No, they just experienced a damn pandemic. Of course not. But nobody knows. And what happens when a team loses a guy and they have to quarantine? Speaking of, the Sixers' new acquisition, Ryan Broekhoff, he's not with the team and he has to stay with his family. And that is so okay. Absolutely, it's so okay. His wife tested positive. She is someone who can get the virus at a high risk. And they have a young child as well. So, look, by all means, you spend that time with your family. But the reason why I bring that up is that can happen to anybody throughout any moment of this entire bubble. If someone finds out that their family has it, wife has it, kid has it, and they're in the bubble, they can leave and go see them. And that could be during the first round of playoffs, second round of playoffs, after the seventh game of the regular season when things return. You just don't know. So how can you really anticipate what's going to happen? Because there's so many variables that can happen. But getting back to my point. It does upset me when people claim that the reason why they see the team being able to be effective is because other teams are going to stink that much. Well, come on. Really? Other teams are going to stink that much that the Sixers style of play might work? Oh, please. Come on. And it's a very loud amount of people. It's a lot of people who feel this way. Chris Mannix, one of them, Sports Illustrated, he wrote a whole article on why the Sixers could do it. And then it sort of snowballed into all these other people who look at it the same way. And I'm okay with looking at the Sixers and saying, you know what, they might be able to get it done. They weren't super pretty. Maybe this time off helped them. Tobias Harris is very vocal about how these issues going on in the world kind of helped this team stay together, and they were able to do that over Zoom calls and being able to hang out with each other via team hangouts or whatever the hell they used, whatever platform it was, but they were able to actually stay together, and this kind of got them back on the same page as a team and held them together and helped them kind of get out some kinks with what was going on. So I'm okay with saying the Sixers are a sleeper. I get that's not going out on some huge limb based off the talent, but I can get it because it wasn't pretty basketball. I can totally knock, though, the fact that, yeah, you know what, it's going to be so sloppy, it's going to be so horrendous. Why not a team that sucked all year long in terms of what their expectations were? Why won't they get it done now? Maybe they can. I don't like it. I just don't like it. I flat out don't like it. There's some other things I don't like. Joel Embiid looking good, best shape. I like that. Don't get me wrong. I like that. But I'm tired of hearing it. That's the point that I don't feel like hearing. I don't feel like hearing it. I don't feel like hearing it. Brett Brown said again today that Joel Embiid looked great. They had their practice. Joel Embiid stood out to him. It's awesome. It's almost as if now, I don't know if it's the Sixers organization. I don't know if they sat together and said, hey, we're going to continue to say this over and over again. But it seems like they are stressing this out to everybody. Brett Brown says it. Joel Embiid was asked about it, of course. Josh Richardson had words to say. Hey, by the way, if you didn't know, Joel Embiid's in great shape. Great shape, Joel. Joel's in great shape. Okay. I want to see it. I want to see it. Just show me. Show me. And I saw videos of him. I saw pictures of him. And does he look a little slimmed down? Sure. I mean, it looks like he worked out through the quarantine. But I don't see him and instantly drop to the floor and start hanging out of my seat because I see a picture of Joel Embiid. He just looks a little slimmer. But that doesn't mean anything when it comes to basketball shape. Not at all. A slimmed down Joel Embiid does not automatically mean that he won't be huffing and puffing when the games come ready to rock and roll. And once again, I don't even care if, let me say it this way. I don't think it's Joel Embiid's fault that he's not in shape. I think it's the nature of being 7'2", that heavy, running up and down the floor, getting on the low block on one side, rim protecting on the other. And yes, that is correct. I said getting on the low block on one side because just so you know, he does get in the low block. He does post up. He does lead the league in post up. So he does do it. But getting back to my point, it's just something that happens when you're 7'2". You kind of can't get in shape. It's not easy to get in shape. I'm more annoyed with it getting thrown down my throat. Just thrown down my throat by all of these people, all the players, all these guys, all those guys, oh, Brett Brown. I don't want to hear it anymore. I flat out just don't want to hear it anymore. I'm sick and tired of hearing about Joel Embiid's shape. I'm just sick and tired of hearing about it. And believe it or not, I didn't even like the whole suit thing when they were showing footage of the Sixers leaving to go to Orlando and he's in this big suit and that's part of his personality. I can live without it. I can live without it. And maybe it's because of this conversation about him being in shape, being so active right now that anything related to Joel Embiid in this moment kind of just rubs me the wrong way, I guess. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe if this wasn't going on about his shape and I just saw him leave in that big white suit, I'd laugh a bit. Oh, Joel, you're so funny. He's got everything going when he leaves to go to Orlando. He's all covered up. Maybe I would laugh. But I didn't. I am okay with patience. I am okay with waiting for Embiid and waiting for Ben Simmons to take the next steps. No doubt about it. I am patient. I just get tired of hearing about certain things when it comes to these guys. I just want them to show me it. I'm okay with waiting for them to do it and seeing their growth while it happens. I don't expect it to go from 0 to 100 with either of these guys. I'm okay with that. I'm acknowledging that it won't go from these players, these two specific players that we are waiting to dominate the league, that we are waiting to take that next step with this franchise. I understand that they won't go from one level to the extreme and then it instantly starts to happen. There is a pattern when it comes to professional sports. It takes time. It takes growth. So when I get mad about hearing about Joel Embiid and how he's going to play and his body language and just the way his body looks and huffing and puffing and being in shape, when I talk about that, it doesn't have to go from 0 to 100, but I just want to see some growth. That's all. I just want to see some growth. And when it comes to Ben Simmons, I guess we can kind of talk about that too, right? Because I see that there's videos of him shooting in the gym and people speculate, hey, there's no fans. Maybe that will happen with Ben. I just don't see it. And I love Ben. I just don't see it. I think it would be ridiculous to sit here today and say, well, when the playoffs start, that's right, when the playoffs start, or when these 8 regular season games to get the Sixers to the playoffs, when that starts, he'll start shooting jump shots because there's no fans. Hell, I hope I'm wrong. Really, I really do hope I'm wrong. So he shuts everybody up. But I've seen so many videos of him in the gym, during practice, during 5-on-5 play, where he shoots jump shots. It doesn't really move the needle for me anymore, which is weird. You would think during a time like this, any of these videos would get me stoked. Any of these little clips of them practicing in Orlando would kind of get me juiced up. And I am excited for Sixers basketball, don't get me wrong. And I'm not someone who's banging on the desk saying they got to win a championship, this needs to happen this year, this totally it has to happen, or we need to get rid of everybody involved with this organization. I'm never really that guy when it comes to this team or professional sports in general, because I understand how this works and it doesn't happen overnight. But that doesn't mean I'm not allowed to be irritated with conversations that we've been having since Joel Embiid first started here in Philadelphia. I'm not mad that, I know this might sound silly, I'm not mad that he's not in shape. I'm mad at the fact that we are constantly hearing over the last so many years that he's in the best shape of his life, or he looks great, or Joel Embiid's eye-popping when it comes to how he looks. I'm just sick and tired of that. No, he's not. No, he's not. That's how I sit here today and feel. No, he's not. No, he's not. Because I've been told this so many times before. And that doesn't mean he won't work. It doesn't mean he won't grow. It doesn't mean he won't continue to develop his game and eventually be able to be an X factor. Because think about how much of an X factor he really is now when he's not in shape. He can totally destroy teams and be this insane player without that. So I think that there is a way to learn how to do it properly, even if you're not 100% in phenomenal shape, because I don't think he ever will be based off of the nature of his body size. And someone tried to come at me and they're like, bro, you're ridiculous. Dwight Howard's that size. Tim Duncan was that size. Kevin Garnett's that size. Players can totally be in shape. Well, I could argue that the way Joel Embiid plays the game compared to those guys are two totally different styles of play when it comes to this modern game, right? Dwight Howard, he had his years of dominance, but he didn't play the way that Joel Embiid plays. Joel Embiid's skill set is totally different, and his years of dominance were so small. Tim Duncan, more of a 4, and he's a Hall of Fame guy. There's going to be plenty of guys better than Joel Embiid. It doesn't mean just because you're bigger than Joel Embiid or you have the same size and weight as Joel Embiid, that means that they can't be better than him or do things differently than him. Of course, you see it. Kevin Garnett, more of a 4 as well. I don't see the comparison to how Joel Embiid plays the game from those guys. And there's going to be guys who can be in shape at that size. There's going to be guys who can't be in shape at that size. Shaq wasn't really in shape. He sure found a way to dominate the league, did he not? I would say he did. Just say. I would say he did. So there are ways. I'm just sick and tired of the conversation about him. And 27 to 33. What do you mean by that, bros? I've been so consistent on that's the years of when players start to take over this league. And if they are going to dominate, those are the years where they do it. Joel Embiid is inching closer to that age. So I have more patience with Ben Simmons than I do with Joel Embiid. But then I look back and say, well, Joel Embiid started playing the game at 16. Oh, well, bros, that's just an excuse. Nope, no. Reality is not an excuse. It's reality. But it's time to start being truly hard on Joel Embiid because he's inching close. And when I say 27 to 33, I mean it. 27 to 33. Those are the age groups where I look at a guy and say, it's your time. It's your time. And Joel is getting there. So for him, I'm going to be a lot harder on him than I am with Ben. I am so patient with Ben. You know, people expect 22, 23-year-olds to lead teams to championships. Well, that doesn't happen. Doesn't happen. Sorry. Doesn't happen. But I know when guys do. And that's in the range that I speak about. And, yeah, we just have to wait. We just have to wait. So no doubt I am getting some energy, right? I mean, you're seeing videos now. You're seeing guys get to the bubble. You're seeing a ton of practices. You're hearing more noise. You're seeing this crazy amount of protocols that these dudes have to go through when it comes to wristbands and getting tested and doing this at practice and leaving practice. And, oh, man, it's all over the place. It really is. But you got to do what you got to do, and you got to put these players in the best position possible, and you got to make sure that they feel as comfortable as they possibly can. And it does seem like the NBA is doing that, no doubt about it. So you just got to keep rocking and rolling, and hopefully they can continue to go. Like this basketball tournament that's on ESPN right now where the winner gets $1 million, and it's a lot of ex-college players. Teams had to drop out because of COVID-19, and you just really hope that it doesn't need to happen when it comes to an NBA playoff team. If you're going into the second round and your opponent has to drop out because there's too many COVID-19 positive tests, well, what do? Does that team get an automatic bid? They win the round automatically? They move forward? I mean, it can get funky as hell, so it's just something to keep an eye out for, but hopefully everything can continue to move forward in the right direction. When it comes to Florida in general, that place is a nightmare right now with the positive tests. Luckily, though, the NBA players are in the bubble. Here's the thing. The workers at Walt Disney World, they're not. They're going in, they're going out, they're going in, they're going out. To me, it seems like it's a recipe for a disaster, but I'm sure the NBA are testing these people day by day as they come in, as they go, or maybe it's not the NBA, maybe it's Walt Disney World itself. I don't know how they're getting through with it, but it does not seem like it's, the greatest situation in the world. I would like if those people who are working at Walt Disney World would be able to stay in there, but I think there's legal reasons why that can't happen, so you just got to do what you can do and see how it all pans out. But yeah, seeing the videos, it is fun. There was the video of Ben Simmons throwing the fish in the water and it's slipping out, and there's a lot of funny comments about that video where it's like, oh, look at Ben Simmons, he can't even shoot a fish into the water or whatever. And, it's funny. I get it. If I saw a player in the NBA who wouldn't shoot a basketball who didn't play in Philadelphia, I would have ripped him apart just like anybody else. I just wonder if it bothers him. Does it bother Ben Simmons anymore? Is it one of the reasons why he won't shoot the ball because he's trying to show people, hey, screw you, all right? You don't think I can work without shooting? I'll show you I can work without shooting. Do you think that's how he takes it? Because I would guess that is the way, because the alternative would be he'd say, oh, you don't think I can shoot? I'll shoot, and he would do it, but he's not doing it. There's a couple times where he made a couple threes, but it's not consistent enough, so I think he tries to shut people up by dominating basketball games without actually shooting the jump shot, and I think that's how he reacts to it. He hears the noise. He understands. He hears the reaction by Sixers fans after a three, and he wants it to be normal. He wants it to just be a thing, like, hey, I'm an NBA player who shot a three-pointer and I made it. Stop making it such a big deal. But when you don't do it enough, I'm sorry, it's just going to be a big deal. When you knock down that three-pointer and then you don't hit another one for another 40 games, guess what? The crowd's going to be a little extra, all right? The NBA universe is going to be a little extra. But that's just the way that he is, it seems. It seems like when people kind of put him down and they attack the fact that he won't shoot, instead of telling people, I can shoot, I'll show you I can shoot, he goes in another approach and he tries to show people that he can dominate without shooting. And look, there's games where he doesn't shoot a lick and he destroys teams. He rolls to the basket. He dominates. He goes hard to the rim. Oh, that's my favorite. When he gets the ball, full head of steam, and he's rocking a full court and he bang! Oh, what a sick dunk by Ben Simmons! Like that kind of stuff. Oh, it's incredible. And when he's facilitating, going hard to the rack, and he throws a little how-do-you-do pass over his head to the corner for, guess what? A Tobias Harris 3 or an Al Horford 3 or somebody else, Josh Richardson for 3. Hey, Furkan Korkmaz for 3. Hey, Shake Milton for 3. When that kind of stuff happens, yeah, it's great. But my question is, does it bother you as a Sixers fan? Does it bother me? Not really, because I get it. I understand why fans outside of Philadelphia, and I know that there's fans inside Philly, who make fun of him for not shooting because it's kind of asinine, right? Here's this guy who plays in the NBA who won't shoot a basketball, right? It is ridiculous. So I can get the bashing of him and whatnot, but, you know, it's just, you would think at some point it's time to do it. It's time to take a jump shot. Time to shoot a basketball in the NBA. And I'm patient. I think I've seen enough growth in there. See, what did I say? I'm okay with seeing growth. I'm not okay with not seeing anything, and I don't expect 0 to 100. With Ben Simmons, you saw a couple three-pointers and a couple jump shots in games. It's not where we want him to be, but I can easily say that I know he has worked on his jump shots legitimately in practice to the point where he just looks way more comfortable taking legit jumpers. He just needs to translate that into a game. Now, yes, that is a big part of this, translating that into a game. But overall, if you look at his jump shot from 2016 and you look at his jump shot now, it's night and day. And I've told this story before, but when I was covering the team for 97.3 ESPN when things were normal and it was the end, I guess, of, it's weird. It's not the end of the season, but the end before all of this went down. I watched Ben Simmons every single game, pregame warm-up, nobody really in the building. I was 2 feet away from him on the baseline, watching the guys warm up, and bang, 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 bang. Constant threes, corner threes, making all of them. I've seen it with my eyes, so I know that he has put the work in. You can see it on the 5-on-5 play in the videos. I mean, he has done it. It just needs to somehow get to the next level of doing it in a game consistently. So that's why I'm patient with Ben. I've seen the progress. The progress is there. I mean, it would be naive to think you haven't seen progress. It's just not educated, in my opinion, to say that he hasn't made progress with the form of the jump shot in general. Let's just see it take the next step. So there you have it. Sixers, soon. The 76ers, soon. Hopefully COVID does not take that away from us. Remember, this episode of Sports Talk with Bros is sponsored by Orbit Energy and Power, and with over 20 years of experience in the industry, Orbit works directly with you to ensure you are getting the best deal. That's not all. They also provide water purification systems, backup energy services, battery storage, tree removals, and more. Seriously, they provide so much for your home. So many upgrades. You got to check out their information. Their link is in the description. $0 electric bills, people. It's reality. Give them a call. They will absolutely inform you on how going solar works. It's so beneficial. Thank you guys so much for listening. And I will see you next time.